This is going to be a model review of the Universal Hobbies Komatsu PC400 excavator in 1/50th scale. This model was made a few years ago and seemingly somewhat limited numbers because I don't see too many of them out there. But I have done some custom modifications to this model. I'll name them off here. So the first thing that we did is we changed out this because it used to have two screws here and here to hold the bucket on the quick coupler. Now I just have a pin that I can easily remove. Also added this little lift hook on here. The cab, the biggest difference here that you'll notice is that we removed the tilting mechanism because a machine with a long boom and stick like this that's going to be doing sewer work does not need a cab that tilts up towards the sky. Also, the other modification that this model definitely needed was the undercarriage. The original model, the undercarriage was about as wide as the counterweight. Now, show you that. The undercarriage is the proper width for PC400, which makes the model stance look a lot better. Even though you don't notice it right off, it does make a big difference. So we'll go ahead and get into some of the various things with the model here. To start off, this model is very fragile. It's really for display purposes only. I've already broken a couple things on it, namely this cylinder right here. So we'll go ahead and get into the review here and show you some of the different features of it. Detail, you have a nice little falling protection structure on top with a light, a couple antennas, grab rail with a mirror, and a nice windshield wiper. The graphics on the Universal Hobbies models are outstanding. I would go ahead and say that. The paint finish is not outstanding. So while the graphics are great, the paint is bad. There's a big smudge right on top of the cab there. All over the cab here where the gray meets the yellow is pretty, I mean, you can kind of see it's kind of a rough match there. It doesn't really meet up very well. Come to the back here, you have more of these very good graphics, and the Komatsu logos are nicely represented. One interesting thing to note about this model is that the top of this is plastic, and this engine cover is plastic, but the actual body itself is metal, and when you pull the model apart, this is actually just plastic detailing sitting on top of die cast, which is an interesting choice, but it does seem to work fairly well. And these bumpers on the side are plastic. One unfortunate thing I think about this model is the undercarriage. It looks very nice, but the undercarriage is made entirely out of plastic. So these frames are plastic, the main connecting structure is plastic, this is plastic. The track pads themselves I think are metal though. Show you the undercarriage can is spring loaded, but I don't recommend rotating the track because they will break since they are extremely fragile, as is with the rest of this model. One nice feature about this model is the working bucket, quick coupler. So normally you'd have two screws, but I made it so that you can just pull this little pin here and we can remove the bucket then, like so. It's very handy, and I think it's nice to have an excavator with that feature. It's really good for sewer work. I'll show you the functions of the model. It can fold up pretty tight here for transportation. And it can also extend out a good ways. Nice and long reach on this model. One thing to note is that the bucket linkage, this member right here, is a little short, so that its rotation is a little limited on the bucket, which isn't really a real downer, because the rest of the functions on this model are really nice. Boom lifts up nice and high, up to there. You can also reach nice down quite a ways here. As you can see, this is a very, very deep digging model. which is good. That's what you want in a nice sewer machine like this. So, anyway, to wrap up the review, this is definitely a machine. If you like underground utility work and whatnot, this is definitely the model for you, but it's definitely more of a display model. As you can see, there are very fragile parts on it, and it is super easy to break. Anyway, that's what I definitely recommend it if you like sewer models. If not, probably not the model for you. Thanks for watching, guys.